Welcome to the Courserunner Show, where our goal is to teach you how to leverage and profit from your expertise by creating courses online. Are you ready? Hello, my name is Melvin Tan and I'm your host for the Courserunner Show, and this is episode 003. And in today's show, we're going to talk about the 7 steps to take your online course from idea to launch. Yeah, and so in today's we're going to go through all the 7 steps to help you take your idea from idea to launch. And so let's get into it. So the first step is basically to find your niche. Now, when we talk about finding your niche, a framework that I like best is to use the 3P framework, and that goes into proficiency, the problems, and the people. So we start off with proficiency and we ask ourselves, what is it that I am good at? Yeah, so what is it that I am good at, and what kind of advice do people ask me for? So that will be your starting point, yeah. Because when you are creating an online course, you want to be doing something that you're good at. So what is it that you're good at? So that's question number 1 in proficiency. Next, you want to say that you want to ask yourself, what is the problem that does your proficiency solve? Okay, so you may be good at one thing, but does that mean that that proficiency or the expertise that you have is solving a problem? So unless your expertise and your proficiency is solving a problem, you have no business. Okay, so that's number 2. And number 3 is who will need this solution? Okay, so who will need this solution? So to give you an example, to give you a concrete example, for instance, I am good at design thinking. All right, so this is an area that I am training and I have experience in working with organizations and schools in Singapore. So next is to ask myself, okay, so now that I know design thinking, what problem can design thinking solve? And literally, if you ask any design thinker, they will tell you anything. And to be realistic and pragmatic, I would say that in terms of problem solving, it's to help people to be able to design a solution whereby especially they are facing constraints, for example. Okay, and who might need this solution? And the answer to that, it's new entrepreneurs. So an example, it's new entrepreneurs. One of the key things that they face is, of course, limited budget. And with limited budget, there is a limitation in terms of how you can do marketing, all right? Because you can't just go out there and buy a tons of ads, for example. And so one of the first things we do is to say that, okay, if you have a constraint in terms of budget and you need to do marketing, what are some things that you can do? And this is where design thinking can come into place. Okay, so first is to find your niche, proficiency, problems, and people. So that's number 1. So that's step number 1. Now, step number 2 is to name your course. And as you can see from this diagram here, that these are basically all the different courses that you will find when you go to Udemy and you type in online courses. Now, one of the key things to take note is that your title needs to be very specific. What do we mean by that? For instance, if I give you an example, 2 course title. One is create and sell an online course from beginner to expert. All right, and comparison to beginners step-by-step tutorial to creating interactive online courses with Articulate. Now, obviously, the first one, create and sell an online course from beginner to expert, it's something that it's quite general, it's very generic. However, the second one, the beginner step-by-step tutorial to creating interactive online courses with Articulate, is very specific. So I would think that the first, this particular course, beginner step-by-step tutorial to creating interactive online courses with Articulate, is far better than the second one, create and sell an online course from beginner to expert. Okay, so some of the things that you want to consider when you are naming your course is to think of the words that are related to the keywords that are related to your niche. And of course, with keyword research, you can go into tools like Google AdWords or even Google Trends. Okay, and those are pretty much the free ones. And if you want a little bit more robust tools, that's where you can go into, for example, SEMrush or even Market Samurai, for instance. And we can go into that in another separate show in a future episode. Okay, so once you have identified the keywords that are related to your niche, then you can go ahead and search for them. At Udemy, for example, just to give you a sense of how are people naming their courses, and what are some format that really flies with people, what are some ones that really attracts people, and so that's where you want to kind of emulate from there. Okay, so that's step number 2. Now, step number 3 is pricing your course. Now, we've seen this many times, and one of the first, or one of the common mistakes that many first-time course creator, myself included, it's pricing it too low. Now, the question you want to ask yourself is, do you want more students or more successful students? Well, in fact, of course, you want more successful students, because having more students, yes, you may get a lot of sale, you may get a lot of revenue, but having more students would also mean that you would have to provide a lot of after-sale support for your learners, because they're going to come back to you and be asking you tons of questions, and they will be interacting with you, and they will be expecting you to interact with them. And so if you sell out your first course, the first time you're selling a course, and you sell to 1,000 students, well, that's a good thing. But let's say you want to ask yourself, are you able to provide that spectacular after sales service to your learners? So that's something very critical. And what's also really important for your business is to make sure that more of your students are successful. So you don't just want more students, but you want more successful students. Okay, and if you think about it, whether your course is going to be a $49 or it's going to be a $490 course, the effort is pretty much the same. Of course, if your course is a high-end course, then you would have more resources, i.e. money, to be able to kind of engage a team to do that. But the point is that when it comes down to writing and creating the course itself, it's pretty much the same amount of effort. So why don't you do yourself a favor and price it at the premium? Okay, so that's step number 3, price your course. Now, step number 4 is to record your course, and here we want you to do it the easy way. We have a few methods, and one of the things that we found to be most useful in creating the course as well as recording the course is these 4 steps. So step number 1 is really to create an outline of your course, okay? Because once you have an outline, you will then be able to create your course according to that outline itself. Sounds logical, isn't it? And then the next thing you want to do, it's not to focus, but the next thing you want to do is not to focus on the content, but the benefits of it. So what I mean by that is that, for example, the age-old marketing phrase whereby people do not want to buy a drill, they want to buy a hole in the wall. All right. So you want to ask yourself, what is the content that you're providing and what is the benefit of it? So here really is going into learning objectives and using an instructional design methodology like the ADDIE approach, which we covered in the previous episode. So if you have not listened to that previous episode, we encourage you to go back there and listen to the episode number 2, where we talk about the ADDIE approach to use when it comes to designing a course. So you don't just want to focus on the content, but the benefits of it. Next, most people would use PowerPoint or Keynote slides and record it. In this case here, in this show here, what you're saying is that we are using Microsoft Sway, SWAY, to do this very beautiful and very interactive storyboards. Okay, so this is something that we use kind of differently from others. We use Sway instead of the usual PowerPoint and Keynote. And that doesn't mean that Keynote and PowerPoint is not good. It is still by far the industry standard, but if you want something a little bit more interactive, something a little bit more engaging, you might want to consider some other platforms. So basically it's to use PowerPoint, Keynote, slides, and then record by doing a voiceover. Okay, and what you want to take note here is to keep the length of each video short. So going into like 20 minutes is definitely a no-no. What we really encourage when it comes down to learning, because anything beyond 8 minutes, people really start drifting away. So we try to keep it within the 5 minutes. That's an ideal one. Okay, so keep the length of each video short doesn't mean that it's a long video. It means that there's a lot of content and it is good. All right, that may not be the case. So that's step number 4. Record your course. Now let's go into step number 5. Once you have done that, the next thing you want to do is to create a lead magnet. Now, what's a lead magnet? A lead magnet is basically a piece of content you give away to people who land on a page in exchange for their email. Okay, so here is really you want to say that, okay, now you come. So here's how it goes. People will type in certain keywords. So for example, how to create online course. They might type in a keyword, and then they will be directed to our website. And when they come to my website, our website, they will then be given an opportunity to pick up a checklist, for example. A checklist like 7 steps to create your online course, to take your online course from idea to launch, for instance. And in order to get that checklist, they would have to give us their email address so that we can send them that checklist. So this basically is a lead magnet. All right, so what you want to do is to put together a piece of useful content to collect emails of your potential students. So what you want to figure out what is it that they would do. So for example, if you are going if your niche is to, for example, teach people how to cleanse their body, so perhaps one of a piece of useful information is to provide them with a list of things that they could do to kind of cleanse their body. First starting with breathing, and then with certain food, as well as some kind of beverage that they could do. So whether it's tea detox or to go into a full-fledged 3-day detox program, for example. All right, and when it comes to courses, we found that the best lead magnet is actually the preview of your course. So many of the courses that you see these days, they don't just give you a checklist or some kind of a cheat sheet. What they do is that they will say that, okay, my course is a 8th module course, and if you sign up today for free, you will get module 1. All right, so that's that's pretty much a teaser of what you can get for the rest of the 7 modules. And that's also a good way to kind of demonstrate that you know your subject matter and you are the expert in this area, okay? So after that, what you want to do is not just collect their email addresses and then don't ever talk to them anymore. So that's one of the mistakes that we find in many, not just online course creator, but anyone who tries to create an online business. What you want to do is to send them one piece of content each week, okay, to help them move closer to the outcome. So the purpose of the lead magnet is basically to give people a piece of content that is useful, and then after you want to engage them by feeding them more information from time to time so that they can move closer to the outcome or to the result that they want. And then after that, of course, to ask them for the sale. Right? Notice we say ask them for the sale, we didn't say sell it to them. Okay, so that's step number 5. Now, step number 6 is that you want to do what we call a pilot launch. Now, in a pilot launch, what is different from a pilot launch and the public launch, we'll get into that in a little while. But in the pilot launch, here's what you want to do. You want to get your minimum viable cost up. Okay, we strongly discourage anyone to bury their head and design everything in absolute secrecy and not involve your audience at all. We want you to be able to succeed, and to do that, really what you want to do is to create a minimum viable cost first. So what you can do is, for example, after you have created outline, you may want to do module 1, for example. You may want to create module 1 and maybe part of module 2. And at this point in time, you want to do a pilot launch. So what you want to do is from the email addresses of the potential students, people will sign up when they come to your page. You want to send them an email and you want to say, hey, I'm opening up this course as a pilot launch, and I'm just going to take in, say, 20 people or 10 people, for example. Okay, and if once these 10 places are up, it's up. And so what I want to do is I want to create this sense of urgency and also scarcity. And then and ask them, all right, would you want in? And if you come in at this point in time, of course, you get it at the rate that I'm offering now. In addition to that, you will be able to give me the feedback and to be involved in creating the course and see how the course evolves, and you will get all the benefits of whatever updates and upgrades to this course itself. Okay, so that is what we mean by a pilot launch. So at this point in time, many providers, what they do is they try to offer it at a lower price. Now that will do, but you want to really consider is that the right strategy for you, because if you're gonna lower the price to say really like $19, then you're really commoditizing your online course. So what you want to do is probably not offer it at a lower price, but instead you want to say that this is going to be the price that you get, but what you're going to benefit from it is the future upgrades and the future, additional the courses or the additional benefits that I'm going to provide to new students. You cannot get it for free, for instance. And so here the key objective, threefold. One is that you want to provide a highly engaging experience so that when students sign up during the pilot phase, they get the best deal. And they are also highly engaged. The other thing you want to do, number two, is to take in the feedback and make adjustments. And number three, very important, is that you want to make sure that people actually want to pay for the solution that you are providing. That people would actually pull out their credit card, and spend money with you, okay, to pay for your course. Only then you go out and you start getting your course created in full. All right, so that is step number 6. Now, and then once you have done step number 6, that's where we go into step number 7. That's to prepare for the public launch, and this is probably the most exciting one. And again, at this stage here, you want to go back to the 3 Ps, but these are the different 3 Ps from the one that we talked about earlier. The 3 Ps are basically places, provide value, and public launch. So what do we mean by that? First, it's once you have the pilot launch up, you have certain feedback, you have made some adjustment, you have made some improvements, you've collected some testimonials. The next thing you want to do is to go to places where your customers hang out. So for example, if you know that you're going to be targeting consultants, and consultants are going to be online at LinkedIn, for instance. Now, this is where you want to go, and you want to go to the LinkedIn groups, and you want to start interacting with them and start really helping them out, answer questions, provide value, contribute to the communities, and then ask them, right? Again, we say ask them for the sale, okay? Not sell it to them. So here, if you look at point number 2, answer questions, provide value, and contribute to the community, this is very much in line with what Gary Vaynerchuk talks about in his book, Jab, 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 Right Hook. So you jab by asking questions, by answering questions, you jab by providing value, you jab by contributing to the community, and then the right hook, you ask for the sale. All right, and once you have built up the sufficient momentum, it's time for you to open up your public launch. And once again, we want to caution you to, especially if you're a first-time course creator. I mean, of course, if you have a team of people who is helping you up, then fine, good. But if you're an online course creator and you're flying solo the first time, you really want to consider limiting your class size. And so that's all the 7 steps for creating your online course, taking it from idea to launch. And we thank you so much for watching the Courserunner show. I hope you learned something here today. And we'll be back again next week with another episode number 4. And this is Melvin Tan, your host, signing off. Thank you and bye-bye.